Dre all day.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why you are stagnating. Why are you facing stagnation? Why are you not moving forward? Why do you feel like you are putting in the effort, you're putting in the time, you're showing up like you're supposed to, yet you are not making the progress that you have expected to make by this point? I know why, and I'm going to explain to you why here today. Not only am I going to tell you why, I'm also going to tell you what to do about it. Does that sound like a good deal? If so, keep listening. Now, before we get into this, first of all, let me tell everybody I have a daily motivation text. Yes, a daily motivation text that I send out every single day. That's what daily means, right? That is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. If you want to receive that text, and I know that you do, here's all you got to do. Text me at the following number, 305-384-6894. Normal text messaging rates apply. I don't think anybody pays by the text for their texting these days anymore. Anybody still pay for each individual text? I don't think that's a thing anymore. But anyway, my text will be worth it. All right. Besides the bullshit that your friends send you, they sending you links to some dumbass YouTube video that's going to cost you time but not make you anything on the back end. I'm going to send you a text that's going to actually make you better and make you more valuable on a day-to-day basis. So if you're going to pay for a text, you should be paying for mine. But I'm going to give it to you for free. I'm talking about paying the phone company like T-Mobile or Sprint or whoever. But you get the point. Here's the number again. Text me at this number right now. 305-384-6894. Text me there. You'll be getting my daily motivation text every day. And here's an unadvertised bonus. You can actually respond to any text that I send you. And actually, when you first text me, I'm going to respond back to you, and you will actually be texting with me. I do not outsource my texting to an assistant. That is not a bot that is texting you. That is me that you are texting with. So you can actually text with me by hitting me at that number. So let's get to the topic. Why you are stagnating. I want you to understand that stagnation is one of the poles of the law of inertia. The law of inertia states that an object in motion shall remain in motion. An object that is not in motion shall remain not in motion. In other words, an object shall stay in its same state. It shall remain in its current state until or unless acted upon by an outside force. So if you are moving forward smoothly, you will keep moving forward smoothly until or unless something happens to slow you down. If you are doing nothing, you will keep doing nothing until or unless something happens to move you to action. Stagnation is part of the law of inertia. So when you have things going and everything's working smoothly, we usually call that momentum. Shout out to Alex Sharpman. He got a podcast called Momentum. At least that's what it was called last time I checked. And the other end of that, the opposite of momentum, is stagnation. When nothing's happening, nothing's working, and you can't figure out quite why. Today we're going to talk about why stagnation occurs and why it is happening and what you can actually do about it. Now, I talked about momentum as a matter of fact. Any of you don't know how to create momentum, what to do about it, guess what? Episode 1324. Can you guess the title? How to create and keep momentum. Again, that was episode 1324, 900 episodes ago. Go listen to that. Again, it is linked down below in the show notes. And any episode that you want to listen to in the history of this show, there are 3 ways you can listen. Number 1, it might be loaded in the app that you're listening to right now. But as a caveat, these apps can't load. We got too much substance here on this show. So I know other shows, they can load all of their bullshit. But we got so much substance here, Work on Your Game, that the apps can't hold it all. It's too much substance. So they might only load the last 300 or 500 or so episodes. If you want to listen to an episode that you cannot find on Spotify or Apple, and I get people asking me this every now and then, go to workonyourgamepodcast.com. Again, workonyourgamepodcast.com. Every episode that I've ever made is listed on that page, and you can listen to any episode ever at workonyourgamepodcast.com. The other way you can listen is if you just go to dreallday.com. That is my personal website, / and then just put the number of the episode and then put a little dash after it. The dash is the key on your keyboard next to the 0. If you're on a desktop computer, next to the 0 is the little dash, not the big dash, the small dash. So that's dreallday.com. and then put the number of the episode and then put a little dash, and you can listen to any episode ever there as well. You can also see the videos and the show notes, all of that stuff. So you got workonyourgamepodcast.com, dreallday.com, and this app. I'm giving you 3 ways to get it. And a lot of the stuff that I talk about, I also speak about and write about as well. So you have no excuse to not get anything I've ever talked about here on the show. So the topic again today is why you're stagnating. Let's get a definition of stagnation. It means to cease, to flow, or to move. I pretty much just told you that. Having no current or flow, and often having an unpleasant smell as a consequence. I like that extra part they put in there. Having an unpleasant smell as a consequence. If any of you is stagnating right now, things don't smell too good, right? You're not. It doesn't feel fresh. It doesn't feel like it's flowing. You think of a stream or a river. Usually streams and rivers have very clear, clean, crisp waters. Why? Because there is flow going on. There's always, the old is getting washed out and the new is getting brought in. But if you get some stagnant waters like a pond or a lake where there's no water flowing in and no water flowing out, that's where you get some nastiness. All right? That's where you get animals like alligators and crocodiles living in there, and some fish that you probably don't even want to be eating, simply because they're living in a foul environment, because there's no flow, there's no momentum happening in that space, and you don't want to be that in your life. You don't want an unpleasant smell to your career or to your life. And this is an actual dictionary definition, folks. I didn't make that up, and it's a perfect definition for what we're going to talk about here today. So we're going to identify why this happens, and I'm not going to leave you hanging there. We're going to figure out what to do about it. Point number one reason why you are stagnating. The topic again today, why you're stagnating. Number one reason, you might have been able to guess this one. This is a word we've been talking about a lot lately on the show. Lack of strategy. You are stagnating because you have no strategy. Yes, I know you have game. Yes, I know you work hard every single day. Yes, I know you believe in yourself. We just talked about these yesterday. Yes, I know you think you deserve it. Guess what? None of those is going to create momentum for you. It is a lack of strategy that is causing you to stagnate. I am a living, breathing testament to the fact that progress and success can be created with no strategy whatsoever. You can create momentum for yourself when you have no strategy. Here's the problem though, because let me finish telling you the whole story. So you got half of it. Let me tell you the other half of the story. I am also a living, breathing testament to the fact that progress will not continue over an extended period of time if there is no strategy whatsoever in place. So what I mean by this is, if you have no strategy whatsoever, you just work really hard and you just believe in yourself and you have game and you just do a whole bunch of random stuff, you can stumble upon momentum and success and results. You can do it if you just keep trying stuff until you figure something out. And usually, unless you're working with or for someone who has already created the strategy, if you're doing it on your own, you might have to do that. That may be exactly what you need to do. Just do a whole bunch of stuff until you notice what works and what doesn't. And then you start iterating. You start figuring out, all right, this works, this doesn't work, that works, that doesn't. This piece got me something, this piece got me nothing. And you start kind of breaking it down and figuring out, deconstructing what works and what doesn't. That's how you can craft a strategy basically out of nowhere. That's exactly what I did in my business career. I also did it in my sports career. The challenge for many people is that they don't think like this. They just keep doing random stuff and thinking that they're just going to catch lightning in a bottle again, like they did last time. Wrong answer. It's not going to work. Over an extended period of time, if you don't have a strategy, eventually your luck's going to run out. And even though you're doing the same set of random things that you were doing before, no matter how much harder you work, you're not going to get a result, and you're not going to get results consistently because you don't have a consistent input. If you don't have consistent inputs, you cannot expect, and you should not expect, consistent outputs. In other words, if you are talented, skilled, you have time on your side, you can create success randomly, but at some point the luck runs out, and you're going to need more than talent and timing to make things happen continually, especially the higher the levels that you go to. The higher the level that you're competing at, the less you can depend on luck for success, because you're going against people who are better and better and better than they were at the previous level, which means luck alone ain't going to be enough, because they have skill too. They got talent too. They work hard too. What else you got? Is that all you got? Now you got a problem. It's kind of like if you're from somewhere like South Dakota or Wyoming, or from some small town in the middle of nowhere here in the United States, and you're the prettiest girl or the hottest guy in that neighborhood, and then you move to LA or Manhattan or Miami, all of a sudden you're going to need more than good looks, because now you're in a big pool with a whole bunch of big fish. There's a whole bunch of people who got the same thing you got. What else you got? Is that all you got? Is that all you have to offer? Now you got a problem. Now you're in trouble. You might have wanted to stay where you were. But you get the point that I'm making here. You can't just you can't just be a one-trick pony out here. Your one trick can't be hard work. Your one trick cannot be talent, and your one trick damn sure can't be luck. You need a strategy, meaning you know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and you know exactly what result those actions will produce. That's what a strategy looks, feels, and sounds like. If you haven't heard my episodes on strategy, then let me give you a couple. I've talked about it more than once here, but episode 1648, the power of strategy. Episode number, I got so many, I want to find the ones that I think will be best for you. Episode 1526, how to strategize properly. Episode 1525, long-term strategy, what feels good versus what works. Episode 1486, why people fail to strategize. Episode 1285, how to strategize your success. I'll just start you with those. Listen to those first. Listen to all of those. If you want more, then go to workonyourgamepodcast.com. I'll put the entire list of every episode there on the page at the bottom. So just use the find function on your browser and just type in the word strategy, and you will see all the episodes. You can listen to them at your convenience. Again, workonyourgamepodcast.com. So if you feel like you are not making forward progress right now, while at the same time you also feel you have the skill and the talent to make progress, if you don't have skill or talent and you're not working hard, then fix those first. But if you have those things and you're still not making progress, I'm 98% sure that is because you are utilizing a faulty strategy or you don't have any strategy whatsoever. One of those is probably the problem. So let me ask you a question. Any of you who feels like you're not getting the outcomes you want right now, what is your current strategy? What is your current strategy? If you cannot answer this question, then your lack of ability to answer proves my point. The good news, for those of you who don't have an answer to the question, is that this is a problem that is actually relatively simple to solve. And I'll tell you how at the end of this episode. Let's move on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why you are stagnating right now. Number 2, you have a poor strategy. So point number 1 was that you don't have any strategy. Point number 2 is that you have a strategy, but it's a terrible strategy. It does not work. You have a set of directions that will not take you where you want to go. This is when you have a strategy, or at least you think you do, but it's faulty, meaning it's an inaccurate formula. The process that you're following simply does not produce the desired result that you think it will produce. So you're following something, but if you keep following it, it's going to lead you to a dead end. You're following an inaccurate formula, does not properly hit the target, nor does it consistently hit the target. Either one makes it inaccurate. The good news about this, see, we got good news all around here at Work on Your Game. I will never leave you with just bad news. The good news is you just need to make alterations to your strategy and you can start getting the outcomes you want. The challenge with this is that, and I talked about this yesterday, many people are so emotionally bought in to their current strategies, even though they're the ones who have admitted that the strategy doesn't work, even though they have plenty of evidence to prove that the strategy is not producing consistent or predictable results. Even though they know these things, they are so emotionally connected to their strategies simply because they tie their self-worth and how they feel about themselves personally to the results of their own ideas, that they are unwilling to change their strategy in any way because they are taking a critique of their strategy as a critique of them as a person. In other words, whatever idea they have, whatever belief they have, and whatever execution they've done, if someone was to criticize that, many people take that as a criticize of them as a person. They can't separate their work and their efforts and their ideas from their personal worth. And this is a problem. I wrote an article about this recently, and I'll talk about it right here. But if you're listening to this, you should be on my email list somewhere. Just go to workonmygame.com. That's workonmygame.com. You can get on my email list for free. Just put your email address in right there on that page. But what I call this, when people get emotionally connected to their ideas such that even when they admit that the idea doesn't work, they still don't want to replace it or get rid of it. I call this the 8-year-old complex. Yes, the 8-year-old complex. And it is exactly what it sounds like. This is when adults behave and think like 8-year-olds. And they take a personal affront. They are personally offended when you criticize their idea or their execution or their plan or their terrible, non-working strategy, they take it as a personal attack of their character as a person. Now, let me tell you something. I work as a personal coach. I have a mastermind program. I work with people directly. I work with entrepreneurs. I work with professionals. I work with athletes. I write books. I talk to pros every single day. I don't have time for this shit. If you're a professional and you call yourself a professional, if you're an adult, okay, if you know how to tie your own shoes, you wipe your own butt when you go to the bathroom, like, I don't have time for this shit of the 8-year-old complex. When your strategy is not working, or your idea is simply not going to produce the desired result, and it is told to you, I don't have time for you getting emotionally imbalanced because you're taking it as a personal attack on you. It's not a personal attack on you. If I wanted to personally attack you, then I would personally attack you. But if I personally attack your idea or your execution or your strategy, then you should look at it and say, damn, well, is my strategy or idea working? No? Okay, then let's get rid of it and let's replace it with one that does work. This is a problem for many people. Many people are unwilling to do this. And Napoleon Hill talked about this in his book, The Law of Success. He said it's because people are just don't have persistence. I think Napoleon Hill left a step out there, and I think it's become a more pernicious problem in today's world than it was 100 years ago, in that people are so emotionally connected to anything that they themselves come up with that they are unwilling to be persistent in changing those things because they take it as a reflection on their self-worth again. And one of the reasons for this is that we can look around and see other people who claim to have created an idea that worked and got them all, it worked like gangbusters and they got all these great ideas. So somebody else sees that and they're like, well, I came up with an idea, I'm gonna make mine work like that too. And they're trying to basically play in a comparison game with a person that you don't even know. And this slows everybody down from getting the outcomes that we want. It slows me down from helping you, and it slows you down from actually getting what you want. This is the 8-year-old complex. When somebody who's 28 is behaving as if they're 8. When somebody who's 45 is conducting themselves as if they're a child. That somebody challenging your idea means they're challenging you. No, that's not what it is. Someone saying that your strategy is shit means they're saying that you're shit. No, those are two different things. If what you're doing is not working, then just change what you're doing. And then when you do something different and it works, well, what does that say? Do you want results or do you not? This is a question that I can't answer for you. This is a question you got to answer for yourself. Because if you're more concerned with protecting your ego and the shitty ideas that you have come up with or the poor strategy that you've been executing on, if that's more important to you than actually getting results, then neither I nor anyone else can help you out. You can't even help yourself if that's the way that you're thinking. So I'm going to let you sit with that one as we move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why you are stagnating. Third reason why you're stagnating is that you don't have accountability in place. The good news, when you don't have accountability in place, is that you do have a strategy. The bad news is you are not always following through on that strategy the way that you should, simply because there is nothing in place that is moving you to do so. There's nothing that is making you do it. I talked about closing your accountability gaps in episode 765. I also wrote about this as a chapter in my book, The Third Day. If you haven't read my book, The Third Day, get a free copy of it by going to thirddaybook.com. I actually have it right here behind me. So if you are watching on video, you can see this is the book. You can get a copy of this for free. I'm going to thirddaybook.com. This is the hardcover. You can get the paperback as well, your choice. Thirddaybook.com. The book's free. All you're going to do is cover the shipping. I talked about accountability gaps. Again, I told you that episode 688. And I talked about how to hold yourself accountable even when you don't have a coach or a trainer. In episode 1950, we diagnosed what might be making you accountability resistant. If you are not being accountable and you want to know why, listen to episode 1950. And also episode number 1793, how to hold yourself and others accountable without beating them up or beating yourself up. Again, that's episode 1793. Those are all linked down below in the show notes. And anything that's not linked or you can't find it, go to workonyourgamepodcast.com. This is where accountability comes into play, is having something or someone in place that moves you to do what you need to do, or help move you to do what you need to do, because nobody can make you do anything. All right, they can just help support you to do it. While I 100% agree and understand that we should all be accountable to ourselves, and so personally accountable that we always do everything we're supposed to do, nobody has to tell us anything, and we just do stuff. Here's the fact. We don't do that. For the most part, we don't do it. There are a few exceptions of people out there, and sometimes we all can be exceptions, that we are just being so personally accountable that we eat all the stuff we're supposed to eat, do all the stuff we're supposed to do, stay 100% adherence to our schedules, do everything that we're supposed to do the way it is supposed to happen. Most of the time, for many of us, it doesn't work like that, and we all know it, and this is okay. The reason why this is okay is because we're humans, and human beings are imperfect creatures. All right, none of us is perfect. So this is why we have things like processes, mechanisms, systems, other people in place. And what do? They help hold us accountable so that we do the things that we know we're supposed to do to help us out. Now, this doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you're using a crutch. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you when you're using processes and systems to keep yourself in place to do the things that you need to do. This just means you're being smart. Why is this? Because human beings are creatures of habit. We do everything by habit. We do things by process. When we can do the same things the same way every time, over and over and over again, like I talked about in episode number 2013, the same things the same way every time. This is the natural human condition. This is what we want. We are wired to do the same things the same way every time. So this is why we create processes. This is why we have disciplines. This is why we operate by systems, because it makes it easy for us to work within our natural nature. If you're doing things randomly, you are going against your own nature as a human being, and this is why you're not getting results, and this is why you end up in stagnation. The most successful people that you know of, name them. Think of the 3 most successful people you know. They all have accountability systems and or people in place to help hold them accountable. It's either a system or a person or a combination of both to hold them accountable. Guaranteed. The best athletes that you can name, you only have to know them. Every single one of them has a coach and or a trainer. LeBron James, Messi, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry. All the best athletes you can name all have coaches. They all have trainers. What do coaches and trainers do for an athlete who's already at the top of the game? They hold them accountable to continually sharpening their game and staying at the top of their game. Business people have coaches. They have accountability partners. They have systems that they operate by. The best businesses in the world operate by systems. McDonald's, the cleanest system you will see that you can walk into a McDonald's right now, you're going to see the same system every McDonald's you go to. Disney World, systems. Las Vegas casinos, there are systems. You might not notice the systems, but I guarantee you there are systems. Ask anybody who's ever worked in one of these places. They will tell you that there's a system. The best businesses in the world, the people who work there hold each other accountable. The best performers you know of all have some form of accountability in place as a mechanism, not as a random occurrence. Do Taylor Swift and Rihanna and Bruno Mars and who else is a singer? I don't even know. Name another singer. They all got voice coaches. Why is this? They're already pretty damn good. They already sold a whole bunch of records. They don't need a voice coach, but they all have one. Why is this? Systems, processes, accountabilities, disciplines, staying sharp. Now, I want you to look at yourself and ask yourself, what do you have? Oh, you're doing everything by yourself. Now, how's that working out? Point number 4. Today's topic, once again, is why you are stagnating. Number 4, inconsistency. All of these points lead to the next point. Because you don't have these other things in place, you're inconsistent. This is the part that is more about your personal decisions to execute and get things done. And yes, it is a decision to execute and get things done. While you can have all the systems and strategies in place, everything we talked about in points 1 through 3, you can even have someone or something in place to help hold you accountable. Nobody can make you get up off of your ass, get out of bed, get off the couch, move your feet, and actually do the work. Nobody can make you get on the floor and do a set of push-ups. There has to be some buy-in coming from you. All right, everything can't be somebody else making you do it. You had to buy into it on some level in order to take what they're telling you and actually do something with it. I have coaching programs. I have a group mastermind program. I'm going to tell you about how to join it later on. But understand something. You join my mastermind program, I do not become a magician all of a sudden. You had to be bought in to the change that you say you signed up to get in order for anything that I tell you to actually work. Because I can tell you as much as I want to tell you, you still got to go do it. If you're not willing to execute, then nothing I say is going to help you. So how much are you bought in here? I talked about this in episode 1282 and what I call the 51-49 rule. If you haven't heard that, go listen to that episode. This is one of my favorites. 51-49 rule works as such. If I'm helping you to get to a goal that you say that you want, you have to have at least 51% ownership of that goal. I'm not taking majority ownership in your goals. It's not even an equal partnership in your goals. You must own at least 51%. You are the majority stake owner in you achieving your outcome. So if you say you want to lose 20 pounds, all right, you are the owner in losing 20 pounds. You don't lose 20 pounds not because I didn't tell you what you need to do or help hold you accountable or give you a process or some strategies or some disciplines to do it. It's just that you were inconsistent in following through. It's not me, it's you. This is the consistency. This is the 51-49 rule. You must own a majority stake in your own success. No matter how ironclad the system is you are plugged into, how hard-ass your accountability partner is or your coach or your trainer, you must make the decision to follow the process that is in front of you. Until or unless you are ready to do that, nobody can help you. I mean, actually anybody can help you, but nobody will help you because nothing they say is actually going to get done because you're not following through. Follow me? We got one more, point number 5. Today's topic, once again, is why you are stagnating. Number 5, lack of discipline. All of these could actually be one big point. Everything that I'm saying here today, they all can be almost used interchangeably. Discipline is the follow through. So the consistency is your decision to actually do it. Discipline is you following through on everything. You already have the system, the accountability, and let's say you're willing to be consistent. Now the next question is, what are you willing to be consistent at? Because you can be consistent at things that are very destructive. Discipline applies in every single direction, folks. You can be disciplined at waking up and going to the gym and working out every day. You can be disciplined at eating too much candy, oversleeping, second guessing yourself, and procrastinating. Discipline does not discriminate as to whether it's going to help you or hurt you. Discipline works in any direction. Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, called this cosmic habit force, also known as simply your habits. The habitual patterns that dominate your life. 85% of what we do in life is habitual and unconscious. Discipline does not discriminate as to whether it's taking you forwards or backwards. So what are you being disciplined at? And is that discipline taking you where you want to go? This is a question that you must answer. Look at your results and you have a clear answer. Is your discipline helping you work off an accurate formula that will help you hit your target? And if you are not making the progress that you want to make right now, perhaps your lack of discipline and follow through is the culprit. Or it could be any one of the above in combinations or by itself. It could be any one of these 5 things together, or it could be any one of these 5 things by itself. Any one of them can cause you to stagnate. So if you feel stagnated right now in your life, in your business, in your career, I guarantee you one of these 5 things or some of these 5 things are the reason. Let's recap so you know what they are. Definition of stagnating, again, topic again, why you're stagnating, is to cease to flow or move, having no current or flow, and often having an unpleasant smell as a consequence. Number 1, you don't have strategy. You can get lucky and create momentum and results without a strategy, but not over an extended period of time. Eventually, you're going to need a strategy to create consistent, predictable results. Number 2, poor strategy. This is when you have a strategy, or at least you think you do, but your strategy simply is not working. The challenge for many people in changing their strategies is that they are so emotionally connected to an idea that they produce that they're unwilling to change, even if it comes at the cost of failure. Number 3, no accountability. Good news is you have a strategy. The bad news is if you're not following through on your strategy because you don't have a process or a system or a person in place to make sure you follow through, you're not going to get anything done, even though you have all the tools, all the pieces in order to be successful. The best athletes, the best entertainers, the best business people, the best performers you know of, all have accountability systems and people in place. You don't have any. What the hell sense does that make? Point number 4, inconsistency. This is the part that is more about your personal decision to execute and get things done than anything else. And I talked about this in my episode 1282 on the 51-49 rule. You must have a 51% stake ownership, majority stake ownership in your own success. Nobody else can own it more than you can own it. If you don't want it more than anybody else wants it for you, they cannot help you create success. I know some personal trainers who have this very problem all the time with clients, is that they want it more than the client wants it. It's hard to help that person. Number 5, lack of discipline. This is the follow through. You already had the systems, you got the accountability, and you're willing to be consistent. Problem is, you got to do it all the time. You got to show up and deliver every single time. In the professional sports world, what makes you a superstar is not that you can score 50 points in a game, is that you can score 30 points every single night, not just once randomly, but every single time. Everybody's trying to stop you. Everybody knows what you're going to do, and you do it anyway. That's the follow through. That's the execution. That is discipline. And understanding discipline works in all directions. It does not discriminate as to whether it's helping you or hurting you. So you can have discipline work for you or it can work against you, but 85% of the time it is dominating you and controlling you. All that said, 2 things for you to do. Number 1, text me to get my daily motivation text every day. My number is 305-384-6894, straight to your phone. And number 2, you want to work with me on your strategies, on your accountability, on your execution. Make sure you're being disciplined and that you follow through and actually get things done to hit a clearly defined target. Join me in my Bulletproof Mastermind by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. I do a live training every single week. You'll be working directly with me. You can bring every single question, every single challenge, every single issue, and it will get addressed on our calls that we do every week and in our member-only community that is open 24/7. Again, that's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.